Gonna mulligan this one. So we're up against Breach, so we can test the theory if this matchup is really indeed that good. Opponent's got a very strong start. Ranger-Captain is a hate card against Breach, though. See if we get turn 2'd. Didn't get turn 2'd. Can you consign the trigger of K return coming out of the graveyard? Yes, you can, but it doesn't. The K return doesn't get exiled. Teeg makes us better against Belcher, which I feel like I've seen a little bit more often lately. Is Annex Sentry just better than Skyclave with Ring Band because of combat stats? I don't even know what Annex Sentry does. 3 mana, enters exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls, mana value 3 or less until it leaves the battlefield. No, this is much worse. So it does have better stats, but the fact that the thing comes back is a huge problem. Instead of giving, like, Skyclave is in a big way so good because it gives them a token instead of the thing. Skyclave also hits mana value 4, so it gets Karn, gets any non-creature permanent, gets enchantments. But an interesting thought. You missed the Archway deck, yeah. We only played 3 matches. The deck is pretty fun. Still pretty high variance. Stockup was kind of cool. Decided to move over to this. They sacked their Opal. So they're going to play another Opal so they can make a Saga token. Be a pretty big Saga token. So I think I'm static prisoning the construct. They'll sack it, I suppose. How's Glasshawk Birthing Pod coming along? I'm just not having a hard time getting excited for it, I guess, still. And I kind of feel like this is the better build for some reason. Like, this build plays... This build is kind of that deck where instead of playing Birthing Ritual, we are playing a lot more 1-drops for Gearhulk, where Gearhulk can tutor up Static Prison, and can tutor up Relic, and can tutor up Haywire Mite. I mean, you can play Haywire Mite in Ritual pretty easy, but it's tough to play Static Prison, and like, this deck can cast a Gearhulk turn 2, and then you can Green Sun for Gearhulk. So it's just doing a lot of things. It's doing a lot of things that deck can't do. You can also cast Elesh Norn really quickly, which is important to do. If you notice, it would be so good. I think the card's pretty close to unplayable, and I've only ever played that card when I've had like Stitcher Supplier and in my deck to like make the card like maybe a 4/4 on turn 2. I feel like that card is just so slow and small on this kind of deck. Instead of attacking, should have a Green Sun for Dryads. You can set up for 6 Haywire Mite loops. I was thinking I was just going to Green Sun for Gearhulk next turn, but like I'm pretty safe at the moment. Or like I have a Ranger Captain that's just going to be able to counter a it's going to be able to counter the first Breach. So they flip the Tamiyo. They have another Tamiyo to protect this one, which is pretty bad, actually. So we could go 6, Static Prison, this Tamiyo, discarding Breeding Pool, hit this one for 2. Yeah, I think that's better than Green Sun for a Gearhulk this turn. This matchup has got to be just so good. Like, I think we're like a slight favorite game one, and then our sideboard is just kind of like Force of Vigor, Collector Ouphe, Haywire Mite, Relic, Thraben Charm, Deafening Silence. Thoughts on Pyromancer's Ascension as a build around in today's modern, or you want to touch it as it's such old tech? I've tried to think about Pyromancer's Ascension a few times, and every time I do, it just seems to be worse Ruby Storm. So if you can figure out a way that Pyromancer's Ascension wouldn't just be worse Ruby Storm, let me know. Now just looping Captain, potentially. So like the thing with Captain is you don't want to like really aggressively loop it, especially because we need to attack the Tamiyo. You just want to wait until they cast a Breach or cast a removal spell and then sack it. I might be like buying back Haywire Mite, because Haywire Mite also stops the combo. Also can kill the Saga. Of course, I'm gonna need lands too. Hopefully 6 does draw me lands. Alright, so they got 1 card in their hand. They didn't sack the Bauble. We draw an Arbor Elf for turn. I'm going to pay 1 for the Static Prison. I'm going to go to combat. Going to send 3 at the Tamiyo. Does them not cracking the Bauble mean that they have no Unholy Heats in their main deck? It either means that or they have 1 in their hand, I think. I don't hit a land off of my 6, which is a problemo, I think. Not the biggest problemo, but a problemo nonetheless. Seems very unlikely I should Green Sun here. Utopia Sprawl will be a fun draw. Sorry for the rhyme. We went 3-0 into 3-2, losing to Eldrazi, and what was the other loss to? Can't actually remember. So if I Green Sun for Fanatic, I won't be able to play and use the Haywire Mite, so I guess I actually just get Dryad Arbor. No, we get an Arbor Elf because I might want to tutor Dryad Arbor and use it to retrace. Oh yeah, we lost to Dimir. Their draws were so good. So my hope is that I find a land off the 6. I'm going to jump the 6 also, which should kill the Tamiyo. And if I can get a land in my hand, I can play the Haywire Mite, which gives me enough energy to keep Static Prison around and allows me to retrace the Haywire Mite, kill the Saga, and only reduce them to 1 token. Why do we need 4th Dryad Arbor? I need the 4th Elf so I can jump the 6 and kill the Tamiyo and not lose my 6 to the Saga. So I need to Green Sun for something, and it's better to do Arbor Elf than Dryad Arbor, which is what you said, instead of Arbor Elf. So that I can tutor an Arbor Elf to retrace something with 6, potentially. But I'll just, I did actually already say all that, but whatever. Okay, so they're surveilling. They have something, maybe Otawara, maybe Boseiju on the Static Prison. We do find the land, so let's see if they have the Otawara. Could be Sink into the Stupor. Kind of the same thing, I guess. Okay, maybe it was nothing the whole time. Ninja, thank you for the 2 months. Your turn. So maybe they have the Otawara and so I guess this was bad because maybe they have if their hand is Otawara Breach, then they're trying to bounce the Ranger-Captain, not the 6. Okay, I think I sussed that out a second too like one game action too late here. They have 1 card in their hand though. We'll see if they have the Breach. Seems kind of likely at this late in the game though. Little tunnel vision there. Nice. Better lucky than good. Could retrace another Ranger Captain here. So we're up a game against Breach. Got a few sideboard cards to bring in. Elesh Norn is very good against them, but I think it's just maybe too high on the mana curve. 6 was good this game, but I think we're going to cut it. We're going to cut the Fanatic, just trim down a bit. Although maybe, actually, what if we cut the Guide Prides? And then we left all these in. We left one Norn in, one Fanatic. No, we're not. We'll just cut the Fanatic because we'll get Ouphe instead. Why pay for Static? I just kind of mentally already paid for the Static Prison before they played the Tamiyo. And then they played the Tamiyo, and I was just excited because I couldn't lose. But yeah, I guess we shouldn't have paid. Let's keep. Maybe one guide for Static Prison economy. Yeah, I think that's a good choice. We could also go like lower on Static Prison too. Well, good start. Could get turn 2'd. Yeah, seems free to do this, so I can just go turn 2 Sprawl. Sprawl plus Ouphe. What the frick? I mean, this matchup was like unlosable. It's just like we just incidentally have so many hate cards for it. Oh, maybe they'll flip the Tamiyo and kill me with that, actually. Just answer after answer. Yeah, I've been saying this a bunch too. I really like Breach being the best deck and the most popular deck in the format. Because it's just... it's pretty easy to sideboard. Sorry. Sorry. All right. Sorry about that. So how much do we care about our opponent minusing the Tamiyo, getting back Nature's Claim, killing my Sprawl? Definitely care some about it. I think I'm still going to go Ranger Captain, get a Dryad Arbor here. Yeah, Breach does make you choke on your protein bar, I guess. But yeah, it's just like obviously like a lot of people don't like the Breach deck, but when this kind of deck is the top deck, it's the kind of deck you can sideboard really heavily forward no matter what you're playing. Like, no matter what you're playing, you have access to Grafdigger's Cage. You're going to have access to really premium sideboard cards for the matchup, which is not true. Like, this wasn't true of, like, Boros Energy when Boros was the best deck. Like Boros is just not a deck you can target. If Black-White Ketchmos is the best deck, you can target it with Torpor Orbs. There's another Glass Cannon deck that isn't, super duper weak to sideboard cards. Or there's not a lot of versatile sideboard cards for, maybe you could say. Like against Breach, like you have your cage in play, right? And you're like, okay, this cage is in play. Their Emery does nothing, and they can't get Urza's Haywire Mite off Saga, and they can't combo while this is in play. But they have some outs, so I need to like dig for another lock piece. But other combo decks, it's like you like like there's not really a card like that that's cheap, that's like 1 mana that can protect you, and there's not really a card like that is like super reliable that stops it from comboing besides like Magus and Harbinger, which are 3 mana. So I thought, I guess, so I miscounted. I thought maybe they would chump block the Ranger-Captain because I thought this would stop the minus. I think that's okay though. I don't think we need to worry much about the minus here. So I've already got my Deafening Silence. I'm not playing Cage because we're a Green Sun deck. An abundance of good options. Let's take Haywire Mite, Mockingbird. Mockingbird the Ouphe. Isn't Consign okay against Titan? There are cards that are okay against Titan. Consign is okay. But there isn't like a 1 or even 2 mana generic sideboard card that any deck can play to have be good against this. There are 2 very specific, very hard to play 3 mana cards in the format that are like this, and 3 mana cards are too slow against it. It's like there's no it's and even if there were 1 or 2 mana ones, like the prevalence of Boseiju would have to make it a creature too. Yeah, Damping Sphere is like okay, but so beatable because of Boseiju. Yeah, but there are a lot of cards that are okay, and this is why I went so hard on the glass cannon meme, is that the deck is just very, very resilient and very, very fast. Curious how your brain works with brewing when there are fun cards combos out there. What's the threshold you use to figure out if the card is viable with new printings? Is it based on turn sequence? Like now you can get combo X online turn 3 and it's viable, whereas some printing same combo works turn 5 but unplayable. Yeah, I mean I won't be able to give you just like a formula sheet for that, unfortunately, since the way my mind works for brewing is that I brew full time, and I have my Ouphe in play. I do this for a living, and over time I've kind of gauged a feeling for the overall power level. So when new cards come out, there's just a process of comparing the new cards to the old cards, if that makes sense. Yeah, I don't have. Yeah, I have written. I have written some articles on like what my brewing process is like. I think I've got like 2 or 3 like long form articles just like on how to brew in Modern that are probably still up over on TCG Player. Article is probably 3 or 4 years old at this point. Okay, so their Saga tokens will be 5/5s. So let's beta block on the Elesh Norn. Check out the articles. Do you always backlog powerful but currently non-viable stuff in my brain? I try to. I mean, there's like I talk about this in the articles too, but it's just like every brew starts with an idea. You just have to have an idea before anything else can happen, and you have to, it is good to keep in mind powerful interactions that aren't quite there yet. This happens, I think, pretty often, that there will be something that I'm like kind of excited for, but it just isn't quite there yet. Although I feel like my organization for that, a lot of times, like, it's just like leaving decks in progress on my Magic Online account, not super duper organized. I think we're going to call this a Surveil Land Keep. So probably Storm again. Need to Surveil this turn. I guess we can hope to Static Prison next turn and start drawing some cards with 6. What do you think has prevented more non-games of Magic? The London Mulligan or fetching for Surveil lands? It's 100% easily the London Mulligan. I'm a big London Mulligan fan. I know not everybody is. That Flashback Dragon, bad even with Arena looting in the new mocks. Capricious Hellraiser, I think the card's still not doing so much. Well, opponent played around Static Prison, maybe. Why not play Sprawl before? When would you have had me play Utopia Sprawl? There was a reason on every turn to every moment to not play it. The biggest reason was getting a Surveil land down. Genuinely asking, what's the thought behind Breach in the sideboard of Storm? So, if you sideboard Breach in the side of Storm, you can main deck 4 Past in Flames. And you main decking 4 Past in Flames in my build of Storm is really nice because of Dragon Rage's Channeler. You get to really consistently, or you can surveil into it, and even if you have no cards in your hand, which is not something that this card can do. The Artist Talent. You have no cards in your hand. You can surveil and mill over Past in Flames for value. What else was I going to say? I feel like I had this one more point there. But you still want a Past in Flames type effect to get so you can play Breach in that spot. There's also like there was another card that got printed recently that might actually be better. I can't remember what it's called. Relatively new. Okay. I guess I want the Teeg too. One Haywire Mite. Yeah, let's do this. Let's keep. So play Gemstone Caverns, we'll play Deafening Silence, and if they don't, we'll play Ocelot turn 1. Make sure to play Relic before Deafening Silence. Relic before Deafening Silence. I recommend one big paper Magic tip I have for you is when you're trying to think of sequencing, just go Relic before Deafening Silence in person, and then you'll like just weird your opponents out, and you'll get some free wins that way. I got the Mockingbird, so I don't need any blue mana. Could get Hallowed Fountain otherwise. What's the pro to playing a deck like this over Blink? So one thing is we've been crushing Blink. We're 2-0 against them in really nice fashion. Additionally, you also get to be better against like Titan and Breach than Blink is, while occupying a lot of the same design space. Like this deck might just be better than Blink. It's better against Blink. It's better against Breach. I think it's better against Titan with these main deck Elesh Norns that you can play on turn 3. I think it's maybe about as bad against Eldrazi. I think Blink is bad against Eldrazi. Maybe Blink is probably better against Eldrazi overall. But man, if we lose after going turn, we couldn't have played the Ranger-Captain this turn. But losing this game would be so sad. Ruby Medallion, Manamorphose, 2 cards still in hand. So the next instant source who they play can flip Rao. There's a Wish also, so they could wish for Grapeshot, kill my board. When you attacked with Elf, you could have tapped for mana instead of Utopia. Yeah, maybe that was better then. I don't really exactly recall that's how it went down, but maybe it did. Lost the flip. So we need them to lose this next flip. We're also going to lose all of our creatures. Damn it. So they hit Ritual, Past in Flames, and that's it. And then they cast the Ruby, then they cast the Past in Flames. I didn't realize there was another Ral. I think we're dead. Kind of an unbelievable game to lose. This is Storm sometimes, though. Yeah, dead. Dang. Was really hoping to see more of the Seismic Assault deck today. It was sweet. I mean, it was sweet. I know people want to see more of it. We played 2 leagues yesterday. I don't like to play the same league deck 2 days in a row. I like to keep the show moving. I might play it at the challenge on Friday. It seems pretty fun. I would be more likely to do that if I can figure out more of a plan against the big mana matchups. But it seems like something we could try to do. It did seem like you were like chewing up and crushing the mid-range decks, which is fun. All right, get to test more of the Blink matchup, it seems. Yeah, I might play the Absent Ketchermos deck too. I can also just like look at general updates for the Monument deck, but it obviously performed really well yesterday. And okay, there's a Ketchermos. We'll try to save the Static Prison for that. I may be going Haywire Mite on the Overlord, if depending on what we draw here. Well, not the best draws. Thankfully, the can Gearhulk next turn. Can Gearhulk and then have Ferocious available too, although not the most to do with it. We could if we draw a fetch land, we could go Gearhulk, Mockingbird, and then copy the Gearhulk too. How was the Catcher Flare deck? We went 3-2 our first league, and it felt pretty solid. And then I think we 1-2 dropped the next league and just kind of moved on. But I think it was a pretty solid like Esper Frog variant. If I was an Esper Frog main, I would be pretty interested in trying to work on that build more. We're so close to playing Gearhulk and Elesh Norn this turn. Seems like I just played the Elesh Norn. Yeah, Gearhulk turning non-creatures is great. Tutored a lot of Mox Opals, Hammers, Sigarda's Aid, Static Prisons, Relic of Progenitus, Portable Hole. Right, this matchup's been pretty simple so far too. Just got the artifacts bring in second Thraben Charm, second Elesh, or third Elesh. These are kind of like largely in here to kill opposing Elesh Norns, but they also can kill anything. Just give you some outs of that. Yeah, and so like we also been just talking about Turbo Elesh Norn in general. It just seems to be something that's so good in the metagame. Here's a list with the land cyclers. I'm not very interested in Oliphant or Genericent, if I'm going to be honest. Okay, sorry, this is not what we're. I don't know what this is. This is scaring me. I thought we were talking about Monument Seismic Assault. I don't know what this is, dude. What is happening? What is this? These Abzan like decks are just becoming harder and harder to understand. These like rock builds. Did I see Magic Gate's take on Abzan Ketchermos justifying main deck Relic even further with Free Starter Lookout? I saw it. I historically have not been very interested in only Urza Saga as a payoff for Free Strider. And that was kind of the reason I didn't like bark down that tree so much, but it could be good. Sorry, I should have done this here. What is Norn turning off that makes so good? Basically, their entire deck is the short answer. Like their entire deck. So I'm going to play 6 for mana efficiency, the ability to try to hit a land next turn and to block Felia. Would Onthanize be playable? Yeah, you could play like Snowland Onthanize, be possible. Is it worth having a land other than Dryad Arbor Gearhulk can get like green-white artifact land? I would say like definitely not. I would not play the green-white artifact land. I would maybe play like the Ancient Den if you could play Ancient Den. So you can get back Emperor of Bones. Oh, and they have push. Okay, this could be a tough one. You get back another Emperor of Bones. So I can get a Gearhulk and let's get Gearhulk so we can get static, maybe just Static Prison, maybe Static Prison Arbor Elf. Definitely the first Static Prison. Let's get Static Prison Utopia Sprawl so that I can go Guide Pride Static Prison next turn. And then Elesh Norn the following turn. Gearhulk is so fun to cast, and the fact that we get to play extra Gearhulks for the tutor is pretty cool too. So they have another Fatal Push. Kind of interesting if they flicker the Overlord for the extra card. Actually, it's not that interesting. They should just hit me for 5. They find Solitudes too. So they hit me for 8 down to 6. So now I have the option of playing second Static Prison. I think I want to go Guide Pride Prison instead. Maybe it is actually better to get the Ophelia, though. Got Archery. We went 1-2, move on. But I like the deck. I think it's a good... I think I wanted to provide a little update and show off like the new tech with stock up, but it was okay. Still pretty high variance, but so fun. Okay, there's an Aven Interrupter, which is like pretty annoying against my Elesh Norn. They have 2 Emperor of Bones. Wait, did they not get a Solitude last turn? Oh, they returned a Witch Enchanter. Okay. Yeah, but they couldn't have flickered Witch Enchanter last turn with Felly. Only Flicker Wisp flickers the lands. Okay, so they do return that Aven Interrupter. Any starts your engine cards good? Nope. And a Thoughtseize. This is going to be a tough one. This is going to be a tough one. So they have Aven Interrupter available. We pay 1 for Static Prison. Cast the Static Prison, because I would rather resolve this Ranger-Captain. I think we get Ocelot Pride instead of Mockingbird. We could get a flying 1-2, but it seems like it's better to keep the Mockingbird in the deck. We'll get the Hallowed Fountain. So we'll gain 3 and then 6 on our end step. We have a Static Prison we can cast next turn. My opponent's hand is 2 Emperor of Bones and 4 mystery cards. They can get a Solitude back with their Overlord if they so desire. They're at only 6, and I'm at 16 now. We have a lot of good top decks. So if my opponent had Wrath the Skies in their hand, it seems like they would have cast that pre-combat. Maybe I should have sacked to play around it. Good block sack. Because if I block sack, like, what's my opponent going to do? If they Solitude Guide of Souls, they can go block, chump, go to 9, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I guess they go to 1. But they die if I don't sack the Ranger Captain. Yeah, I think I just take the hit. Oh, I forgot about the Static Prison. I guess Static Prison did let me present lethal through the Hardcast Solitude. It does seem unlikely they have Wrath Disguise. They should have cast it main phase 1. Nice. So if I do Green Sun for a Gearhulk, then I can't Static Prison. And so if I go Green Sun for Gearhulk and then they like Ephemerate Aven Interrupter. I think I should cast this one. So if they Ephemerate, they can't hardcast the Solitude. How important is Green Sun? Green Sun's super good in the stack, just gives you more Gearhulks, which is a big part of it. We get Mockingbird, Static Prison. Yeah, it's just like it's. I think Green Sun is a big part of the reason why this matchup is just so nice. Obscene that we're winning this. Yeah, I mean we're like 3-0 crushing the Blink deck. So someone asked why play this over Blink. Good Blink matchup seems pretty dang important. We lost to Storm, which feels a little unlucky. Obviously, like that happens in Storm sometime. We beat them also last league. So this deck is good into grindy stuff, but weaker into combo big mana. I think this deck is going to be good against Titan, bad against Eldrazi, good against Breach, good against Storm too. I think really Eldrazi is the weak matchup. I'm not really scared of anything else. Like we lost a game to Frog where they curved out like perfectly and like countered, like had the subtlety at the right time, forced a Utopia Sprawl when it was good instead of bad. Like they just like top decked Murktide, like 2 Murktides both games. It's you're going to lose those games sometimes. We lost to Storm. We 1-1 against Storm. We lost a game to Storm where we had like Deafening Silence, Teeg, Relic by turn 3, and we're about to untap and cast Ranger Captain. We lost. That's going to happen. We beat Storm. I think it's really just Eldrazi that's a big problem. And so I don't know if there's like much else we can do for the Eldrazi matchup besides we're playing a Teeg and we're playing 4 Consigns. No, yeah, we haven't faced Amulet yet, but we have 2 main deck Elesh Norns we can cast turn 3. We have 4 sideboard Force of Vigor, extra Elesh Norn. We have extra Haywire Mite. We have Thraben Charms. It's like I'll say this: if the Titan matchup ends up being bad, I think that says a little bit more about the glass cannon meme than our preparation for the matchup. So I think that Black White is gonna end up being better against. Also, this matchup's gonna be kind of interesting. Like, what's the energy matchup like? Because Black White kind of crushes energy. Is this deck gonna crush energy? I don't know. I think we will join them on the Guide Pride train. What cyber cards could we add to disrupt the Eldrazi matchup? I mean, that's the thing about Eldrazi is like it's just so good against these kind of decks that despite us we're splashing for Consign, you can't feel super good. Like Eldrazi's big weakness is not like sideboard cards either. It's just you being like really efficient Titan deck against them. it's Eldrazi's weaknesses running into Amulet Titan and or like Breach combo that's too fast. Flicker does have you've got like Flicker Wisp and Felia and White Orchid Phantom. You definitely have more tools. That's pretty bad for us. So we're going to cast 2 Static Prisons. Seems like I want the first to go after this Static Prison, because it's really important I have Guide of Souls in play. And then the second after the Bombardment. And then maybe they sack 2 things to kill this Guide of Souls, and maybe they don't. Feels a bit like the direction versus Eldrazi. Should be more about preventing K return damage rather than trying to hold mana for Consign, at least in tandem. I mean, it's just tough because like if you like are holding up a bunch of like I don't even know like exactly what card we would be playing there, but I don't know. It just seems kind of tough to do it all. Like there is, you could play. I have a little bit of tech. There's a 3 mana 3/3 that's green white, so you can green sun for it, and it sacks to give everything indestructible. So that can stop like the front half of K return, but it costs 4 mana. I don't know. It seems tough. Yeah, Consign. Consign is certainly the best thing still. But it does have an Arena of Glory. Wow, the last card's another Ocelot. So I'm drawing a Green Sun Zenith. I'm playing a Ranger-Captain this turn. You don't really want a Green Sun for 6 because I feel like it's just going to get blocked by the Ocelots, right? Yeah, I mean, you could play White Orchid Phantom. Like, Phantom is good. It's like, it's a nice card in the matchup. It doesn't, like, really solve things, though. So they're top decking. Yeah, Boromir helps, but you can't Green Sun for it like you can the 3/3. Okay, pretty good top deck for them. These Static Prisons are going to be pretty costly. And this gets 1 more card in their graveyard. In fact, maybe they should attack with this Ocelot to try to get their Flage online next turn. I probably would have attacked with this Ocelot. I guess this attacks back because they just block with the Ocelot. Okay, cool. Crystal Barricade. Yeah, I also had the Crystal Barricade tech. Stops every target, K return damage. Yeah, but it's 0/4, you can't Green Sun, so... Just doesn't seem like playing little shitters is like a great plan against them. I do think in general, like something that would help Modern is like more sideboard cards for big mana decks that are like a bit more generic. Like Damping Sphere is like supposed to be that card in theory, but in practice I think it's just not really cutting it. Oh, they're playing Ranger-Captain. They get a Ragavan. So I guess I'm just dead if they're making this attack. Yeah. Can you create an example sideboard card? I mean, maybe not off the top of my head. Let me sideboard to this match I'm playing. You know, something like that's a Damping Sphere, but like it's like half Damping Sphere. It's just like if a land would tap for 1 or more mana, it taps for 1 instead, and it's just that card is 1 mana tutorable off Urza Saga instead of doing the Storm Hate stuff too. That could be something. Something that's like a card that's like if casting a spell would create a trigger to counter that trigger, like a Vexing Bauble that stops the Eldrazi cast triggers would be nice because those are really hard to interact with. We'll play 1 Norn. We'll play the second Mite probably too. Maybe Norn's probably just too high on the curve. All right, let's try this. Why a copy of Fanatic of Rhonas? Question mark, question mark. So in a deck that plays 4 Arbor Elf, 4 Utopia Sprawl, and 4 Green Sun Zenith, it seems good to have something you can tutor for 2. Fanatic of Rhonas, I think, is the best thing because we have a good amount of things that enable Ferocious for it. Second best is Bristly Bill, then like maybe Springheart Nantuko. But the short answer is like there's nothing better, and I'm not exactly inviting you to try to find something. But I guess if you, I don't know. I looked at every single card that we could possibly get with Green Sun Zenith for that slot last night, and I determined Fnatic was the best. Yeah, I've thought about going back to the Heartless Summoning Norn deck. About a Wasteland printing in Modern. I would be very against a Wasteland printing in Modern, but actually no buts. I don't know. See, I remember like we were talking about that one day, and I just remember Kai being in the chat, and he's like, Wasteland is like the least fun Magic card ever printed, and I pretty agree that like Wasteland just does not lead to good games of Magic the Gathering. Yeah, maybe something like Lavinia that like stops creature spells. So I should say Static Prison the token to play around Bombardment next turn. Okay, do we want to trade Dryad Arbor for Guide of Souls? No, I don't think so. Oh, sorry, Arbor Elf for Guide of Souls. But it is kind of close. Going a little crazy here. Okay, hit it or land drop. Maybe we should hold the land for 6. I don't know, I think we just play it. I'm more okay with Wasteland being a forced build around. Okay, calling Wasteland a forced build around is like objectively hilarious. It's a hilarious way to describe that card. Okay, them having Ocelot Pride a Johnny is, I think something I'll concede to here. So maybe worse Boros matchup than Black-White. Yeah, also Michael Spawn grabs Wastelands. Have we played any more matches and had any more thoughts about the Catcherbos Gearhulk Opal deck from a couple weeks ago? I think that was just from last week, but I'm interested in returning to it for sure. I think we actually want to go Sprawl on turn 1. So I can get energy off the guide. I'm thinking about playing that in the challenge this weekend. Thinking about playing this in the challenge this weekend. Thinking about playing the Seismic Assault deck too. A lot of stuff to get to. A lot of good brews this weekend last week. Yeah, Wasteland can only target Canister. Happy enough with that being the prismatic ending target, of course. Could have been good to play just Arbor Elf, Dryad Arbor here. Looking forward to evolutions on that one. Yeah, I think so. I think the the Abzan Catchermos Gearhulk deck is, it's kind of hard to look at first, but it's I think it's pretty nice. I guess a little bit more on that deck. I was thinking about it, and I am wondering if Ingenious Smith is optimal for the deck. It's definitely fine. I feel like if there's any like main deck threat that you could cut, it's definitely that one though. So maybe interested in cutting it. Oh, whoops, I messed up. Sorry. Too busy chatting. I could have exiled the Leyline and killed the Kavu. Cool. Just chatting. And then there's a Scion. I draw a Static Prison. Is this a good response to this question? I feel like I've been getting it asked more and more. Am I the real aspiring Spike? I'm starting to wonder that for myself. Am I? I hope so. I do try to be. All right, so let's get Mockingbird, Static Prison. Yes would be the correct response. Okay, yeah, I agree, but it's not quite as funny, is it? It's not quite as funny, is it? They said the goldfish himself. Yeah, I don't know what that means either. Oh, maybe ... yes. How do you feel about ... yes as the answer to this question going forward? Ketra. Let's not be mean. Is that mean? The intention is not to be mean, nor do I feel like that's a mean thing to say. Sometimes my mean radar is out of order, though. The dots are condescending. Okay, my intention with the dots was to be confusing, but I could see where you would get condescending from that. The goal was confusing, of course. I can see that being condescending. I'm glad that we're workshopping this. In fact, it was so confusing, I even confused my own chanters. Alright, so with triple static prison, I'm probably not jumping anything with the Pride here. Should the guide, rather. Shouldn't you be letting this prison die, then just hit the ley line, not spend more energy? Well, they have a Thundering Falls in place, so the Kavu doesn't die. But yes, if they had all fetch lands, then that would be the right thing to do. 1, 2, 3, 4 things in exile. Okay, I think I'm gonna stick with I tried to be. For some reason, I tried to be is funny in my mind. They're down to 11. Not the highest life total I've ever seen. 2 cards in their hand. This can't attack or block. Green Sun can't quite get another Gearhulk. So this Guide of Souls already has flying. Oh, sorry. I meant to get an Ocelot Pride. It's okay. So killing that Guide of Souls means that if I double jump these, I lose a static prison. If I double jump, though, this is 6. I put them to 1 and they can't draw a card, and I can let this static prison die if I want to. What if you wanted like a second Mockingbird in the sideboard for these kind of matchups? Alright, so I'm interested in Thraben Charm. I'm interested in Consign. Elesh Norn seems a little slow, or like way slow. I'm going to cut the Relic against the Ketchermo stack. A little bit worried about Flage. I don't know if they play both. Do I want all 4 Consigns? Seems high. I think 6 is not very good in the matchup. We'll play 3 Consigns. Let's do this. Be right back. Let's keep this. Yeah, Force can be good. One problem with Force is that if they have Leyline and Scion, you can't hit both. But it definitely has its moments. So I kind of prefer Consign because it's like better at answering turn 2 Scion. Curious if we tried Oil Deep Gearhulk. It seems like a card that should find a home in the future. I'm not that high on that card, but I do wish it was better. Seems like I need to get Fountain because I've boarded in all these consigns. So like Oil Deep Gearhulk has great stats. Lifelink Ward 1 on a 4/4 for 4 in blue-black, but the effect is pretty weak. And like if you're gonna play a 4-drop in Modern, it's like it's also like laughably much worse than Brightglass Gearhulk's effect. I don't really understand. Like it does have better stats. Like Lifelink Ward 1's better than First Strike Trample, but like this like double demonic tutors versus just the Vendilion click. A single Sigarda's Hammer in these decks. I had that in the Mox Opal build that we played, but not in this build. So an untapped land would be good to go Ocelot Pride into Thraben Charm, kill the Kavu. Don't have any energy. I think I should keep this still. Yeah, I feel like the Gearhulk should have just discarded the card. I agree. Fuck, damn it. Probably going to game 3 now. Think about some sort of Urza pile. Yeah, the problem is it's like also like Urza when you have 4 Urzas in your deck, you kind of don't want to play extra 4-drops on top of that. Let's go to game 3. At 4 mana, I'd much prefer to have Death Touch over Ward 1. Really? I would pick Ward 1. I would pick Ward 1 for sure. Ward is so fucking good. I guess maybe I should be boarding out a little bit against the Pyroclasms. Have this in case they have the Flage. Maybe second Haywire Mite can be good too, but I think 1 is okay. All right, let's keep kind of a weird 6-card hand. The best Gearhulk is Torrential, and I won't hear a word otherwise. You won't hear me argue any other. Love that card. Okay, so we can keep this on top, then go Ocelot Pride, Consign the Scion. They definitely play turn 2. They also mulligan the 6. And then we can maybe Ocelot Pride, or sorry, Mockingbird to copy our Pride, and hopefully not lose to Pyroclasm. We can think about Pyroclasm some too. What's nice about the blue-white Gearhulk is it costs 5, so you can repurposing bay all of your 4-mana affinity cards into it. Really want to see a Scion. Instead, they just have a Leyline binding up. So let's attack. I think our build. I think I want to now like surveil into Gearhulk and Mockingbird it and not be super weak to not be super weak to Pyroclasm. Are we ever circling back to the Oswald Mopal build or no new tech? There's new tech for sure. It just feels like that deck got kind of replaced by like the Abzan Gearhulk Catchermost deck. Yeah, we played Repurposing Bay. We did like probably just 3 or 4 matches. It was doing some. You can find the list in the Mox field. It was doing a lot of powerful stuff, but there's a couple problems. One problem is you don't have any like really crazy 8 drops to tutor up. It would be a lot better if there was like if your 7s could turn into just a game winning 8 instead of an 8 mana card that just puts you ahead. And like you get like Cityscape Level or Sundering Titan, which just don't do it every time. We also had Filgree Angel, which I loved. So that's a problem, and then there's also seems to be a problem with the fact that you can't beat a single hate card. So if they print a better 8-drop, I would be pretty into it. And if they ever make it to where you don't just automatically lose to a single sideboard card, that would be great too. Okay, so we're going to get a Static Prison and a Guide of Souls. I feel like Wizards has abandoned the cool big artifacts. None of them seem particularly impactful lately. I don't think they've been impactful for a long time. They seem really scared of printing a artifact you can cheat into play that breaks the game, which, valid. Valid. Yeah, they're on Zoo with Ketchermost and Frog. It's been kind of popular. It's like I don't know if there's like a super stock build out or whatever, but it's been kind of looking nice. Do you have any favorite 6-mana Neoform targets? 6 is kind of weird number. Like what 5s are you sacking? But like the best 6-mana creature is Primeval Titan. Sawa, thanks for the raid. Hope you're doing well today. Welcome, welcome. Do you think Argothian Enchantress would be too strong to print to Modern? It would not break the format, but Hexproof and Shroud are mechanics that I think don't make games particularly better, so I wouldn't necessarily support that card getting printed, no. So they could have exiled more cards for their graveyard, so this could have been online, by the way. Okay, so we say yes to this. We Static Prison the Scion. You know what I mean? Like Hexproof and Shroud, they don't make games of Magic the Gathering better. Basically ever. I think I will play this out. In blue. Now, it might have been right to hold for Frog, but we have Green Sun in our deck. We got a pretty high. Some pretty high curve stuff. Ooh, interesting. It's a pretty good 2 cards for them to have. Did I have lethal by pumping Frog and forcing opponent to draw a card with Catcher on upkeep? I might have actually. I don't think I quite have lethal. This is certainly something that I haven't thought much about. I can deal 3 damage with my to them with Frog and Ketchermost here, although they just get to gain some life now. Should replicate in case of stub. Yeah, they didn't have any cards in hand, but they could have drawn into it. That's true. I counted Exaxes. Yeah, that's a cool line. I missed it. Yeah, killing your opponent with their own Ketchamos is definitely a pretty real thing. It's kind of tough to see sometimes. Obviously, that's a miserable draw. Yeah, I think I want to go on the frog to incentivize them to block and keep their frog around. They have Dark Blast as their last card. Okay, so successfully connecting here. So I'm hitting my opponent for 6 down to 6. Looks like I can deal my opponent 4 next turn. Okay, no, I can deal them 5 because I can go discard frog, exile. This will be in the yard also, so I'll have 12 in the yard. That's 1 short, but maybe my opponent draws a card and they miss this. Give triple flying now. Now. Another frog. I would love for them to. I would love to win this way. Nice. Okay. So this is so exciting. This is so cool. So let me make sure this trigger goes on the stack first. And then, so there's 2 triggers on the stack. We'll just put 4 more on there. 1. 2. This isn't even my frog, dude. This is a Mockingbird. Three. Let's go. My frog gets flying. My frog gets flying. My frog gets flying. Yeah, maybe they have Consign somehow. That would be also pretty cool. If you replace Ketchum's draw with the Dredge, you still lose a life. Yes. If Ketchumos dealt the damage to yourself, Scion would save them because it gives Ketchumos lifelink. I guess Ketchumos just has lifelink, so probably couldn't template it that way. Okay, so 3-2 in both of the leagues, you know, that is pretty respectable for a fresh deck. So this deck very similar to black-white Ketchumos, right? Good against Breach. I think this build is better. This build is better against Breach, better against black-white, better against Titan, worse against Energy, worse against Eldrazi. If you're looking for a deck in this design space, but pretty dang cool. Pretty dang cool. Yeah, opponent was very chill. Fun match. Fun stream today. I think that is it for us today. I'll be back tomorrow. I don't know what I'm working on tonight.